Meaning, Mastery, and Love, Brandon Hendrickson.
Meaning is the goal. Mastery is the engine, but the fuel is love. Meaning, mastery, and love. Number one, meaning. I teach philosophy, which means that I am the happiest guy that you're ever going to meet. I get paid money to talk with kids about the questions that matter. And they eat it up. I can walk into any classroom in the state, and within 2 minutes, I can have everybody's hands raised, kids avidly participating, and I mean everybody. From the straight A grade grubbers in the front of the classroom to the stoners sulking out there in the back row. That's right. We know what you're up to back there. Meaning, kids crave it. And schools don't have that much of it. Talk to any teacher that you know. We're all kind of depressed. We feel like we're marking time. We feel like we're prepping kids for standardized tests more than we are prepping kids to live a purposeful life. Can we even have a school of meaning? I'm part of a team of teachers who's actually opening a school, a new kind of school next year, and we think that the answer to this question is yes. Yes, we can have schools of meaning, but there's a problem. My students get it. What they understand is their own narrow slice of suburbia. But the multiple answers to all these questions of humanity have been lived out by billions of people over thousands of years. I fibbed to you before. I was right when I said that I can walk into any classroom and explode brains with questions, and that's really cool and all, but after a few days or weeks or months or years of this, the conversations get shallow because the kids have the questions, they have the curiosity, but they lack the knowledge to make the deeper sense of this. A new kind of school would have to draw students into the world outside of their doorstep. A new kind of school would have to talk about religions and talk about philosophies and talk about politics and talk about economics, the liberal arts. But it couldn't stop there, right? Oh no, it couldn't stop there because you can't make sense of any of those things unless you have psychology, unless you understand what motivates people. But psychology is really the outgrowth of biology, and biology is really the outgrowth of chemistry, and chemistry is the outgrowth of physics, and when you get down to it, physics is kind of just applied mathematics. All of these things, they link up together. To understand any one of these things in detail, you have to understand the whole big picture. And the whole big picture is a really big thing. Do we have any honest confidence that we can get students to understand all of those things? To understand those would require skills, like mad, crazy skills. Students would have to be able to read voraciously. They'd have to be able to write eloquently. They'd have to be able to speak powerfully. They'd have to be able to think brilliantly. Can we do this? I think if we're honest, we recognize that the answer is no. We can't do this. This is too much. This is impossible. Well, it was impossible. Where does talent come from anyway? Meaning, mastery, and love. Number two, mastery. How do some people get so danged good at things like speaking, public speaking, to take a randomly chosen example? About 30 years ago, researchers at Florida State University decided to really get into this question. What they found was astounding. We all assume that the people who are really good at things are really good because they're born that way. But it turns out that actual prodigies are vanishingly rare. Most people who really dominate the world competition put in tons and tons of practice. It was the practice that gave them the talent. Talent, now being more and more appreciated, is made, not born. It's made through practice, lots of practice of a certain type. And the psychologists have spent the last 30 years hashing out exactly how that practice is done. This is a revolution. This will change everything. And it's beginning to seep down into schools right now. Up in Toronto, there is a math PhD who has rewritten the math curriculum to make it really easy for students who stink at math to be really, really good at math. Down in Florida, there's a PhD in linguistics who has done the same thing for reading. Out in New York State, there are people who've done the same thing for the writing curriculum, and in the Seattle area, in Issaquah, in this very room are people who have dedicated their lives to doing exactly the same thing for public speaking. The revolution is coming. So far as I know, there isn't any school in the country that takes all of these things and puts them together, but it can be done. We can have schools of mastery. Or maybe we can't, because mastery like that is really hard. You can push kids and push kids until they crack. What if there was some way of reconceiving all of this? Of having mastery built not by pushing students, but by pulling them toward what they loved. Could we have a school in which all of the students loved almost all of the topics? I think, again, if we're honest, the answer has to be no. That is impossible. In fact, it's worse than impossible. It's hippy-dippy nonsense. Well, maybe it was impossible. Because up in Vancouver, there's an outfit of people that are reinventing schools by redefining teaching. Teaching, they say, is the sharing of loves. And love is a virus. We know that. You catch love from other people. What they have done is weaponize love. They've made it easy for teachers to fall a little bit in love with any topic that they teach, and make it easy for the kids to catch that love. We can have schools of love. We can have schools of meaning because we can have schools of mastery. We can have schools of mastery because we can have schools of love. Meaning, mastery, and love, though I've been talking about these things as if they're unique to schools, they have nothing to do with schools. They have everything to do with human beings. They are human things. We can have these infuse our lives more. We have things that we love. We can cultivate those. We have things that we have mastery over. We can hone that mastery. And by cultivating our lives, and by honing our mastery, we can approach, we can live lives ever more meaningful. We can have better schools, sure, but we can have better lives. We can have a